Hello and welcome to Waadaplaya. It's the mega auction time. IPL 2022 is coming up. We have 10 teams and everyone will have their shopping list ready. We will be previewing each and every team, and today it's the turn of the Royals, the Rajasthan Royals, the inaugural champions in 2008 of the IPL. And let's quickly have a look at what they've done and what potentially they'll be doing at this auction. I have with me Akash and Suman. Guys, how are we doing?
Excited for the IPL options.
Absolutely thrilled. Looking forward to it.
So, the retention. The first question, were there any surprises? Sanju Samson, Jos Buttler, and Yashasvi Jaiswal. The top three is sorted, but what about the rest of the body? Were there any surprises, Akash? Lots of options they had. They had a pretty decent team. One glaring one is maybe Liam Livingston, who seems to be potential red hot pick in the auction.
I think they've gone for a safer bet. Yashasvi being a future bet, Sanju and Butler being consistent for RR, and they had a captaincy option in Sanju Samson as well. They didn't want to, perhaps retain any of the English players because they were not sure of whether they're going to make it or not because of injury or county commitments and other stuff. So that's what has happened now. Stokes and Archer are not going to be part of this auction because of injury and county commitments. And Livingstone again is an English player, so I think they wanted some kind of a variety in their particular squad this time around. You never know; they might again go for Livingstone in the auction. They definitely will buy back few players of the past from their team. They wouldn't want to let go of their groomed players, they would say. But I think this is a good pick which they've done. They've got their top three sorted. All they now need is the middle order and perhaps the bowlers.
So when Riyan Parag, potential guy who could have been retained. You have Rahul Tewatia. Ben Stokes obviously is gone. Jofra Archer is gone. They are short on bowling. So I'm guessing they'll look for a very quick overseas or Indian bowler.
Most definitely, I think their strategy has been batting heavy, which is why you see the retentions too. Retaining Sanju Samson, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and Butler, which will mean that last year, like for example, they missed Jofra Archer quite a lot. So they will look to get that bowling lineup sorted out. They'll spend heavy money on probably getting two top bowlers. Somebody like Pat Cummins, Sanjay, you were mentioning off air that probably he'll be the potential which Rajasthan Royals will go after.
I see, Akash, in the past, Rajasthan Royals, at least in the initial years, they had a tag of Moneyball team, underdogs, and not one to spend too much money on compared to the other franchises, not even spending their purse at some times. But in the last big auction, they did well. I thought they had a very, very good team. It's just that, in fact, all the memorable knocks or bowling spells I remember is from Rajasthan Royals, but never clicked as a team, and which is the reason why they did not qualify for the playoffs in the last couple of seasons.
Absolutely. I mean, so this is a team which they're going to build for the next 3 years. It's not a 1 year option. You're going to build your team for the next 3 years. So it's not the time to think about how much to save in the purse. Go broke and just build a core group which can sustain for the next 3 years. That should be their strategy. They'll definitely try to get back players, as I mentioned, like Sakaria, Tewatia. These are the guys whom they have groomed in the past. So they wouldn't want somebody else to gain advantage because of these players. So they'll definitely want to get these back. Apart from that, they'll definitely look for somebody, from an Indian perspective, I think they'll look for somebody like a Thakur who can, perhaps deliver with the ball and the bat. He's a good pick in the lower middle order as well. So I think that will be one of their key picks for this particular auction.
They might go after some of the West Indians because they are in red hot form. You can see Elvin Lewis, who used to play for Mumbai Indians, hard hitting opening batsman. They might go after Romario Shepherd. That's probably another opportunity which they will look for. But I think fast bowling is where they will spend a lot of time. Hopefully, they don't pick Sheldon Cottrell.
Come on, give him a break. He only had a bad guy, and if he's in the same team as Tewatia is, then maybe he'll not do so badly. So when I had an interesting question, so this building team and looking for the future, considering what CSK's strategy has been, completely opposite. Look out for players who got enough time, enough free time, as we call the dad's army. But that seemed to work for the two of the last 4 years, because they won the champions. They were the champions twice, and most of their players have either recently retired or not a full time. So what is this? And Rajasthan, for one, I love their young talent. They Kartik Tyagi, Chetan Sakaria, Tewatia, then Riyan Parag. So many players came from that. Even Shivam Dubey got decent opportunities. But is that something which the franchises would be wary of? Like, not get too hooked up on this building a team culture?
It's a tricky one, but if you look at experienced players management, I think only Chennai Super Kings can manage that kind of skill set of people. Clearly, because they invest in somebody who's extremely experienced. If you recall, last year or a year before, Harbhajan Singh was picked by KKR. And if you look at it, they couldn't give him a game, unfortunately. Same goes with Dinesh Karthik. They tried to make him a captain, looking at so much experience, but nothing much moved. If you look at Ashwin in Delhi Capitals, extremely experienced, but again, he rarely got a game. And of course, he did not play much of IPL version 1, but IPL version 2, he did not get any games. So I think that strategy CSK is expert for. But with so many international players, especially Australia and South Africans in the market, they will look to go for as many youngsters as possible. And Akash always keeps saying that build a core team, because you have a chance to build a team for the next 3 years. So go for somebody who will give you the return on investment, as opposed to after 1 year they run out of this team.
And talking of, CSK obviously is an outlier in that sense. Most of the teams would try and have a core group and then build a team around it, have a mix of experienced and young players. Sanju Samson's captaincy, how big a test this is for him, and how big a season this would be, Akash, considering he missed out on a World Cup berth last year. This is another World Cup year. His performances are getting more consistent, but considering the talent and the hype it was around, so Sanju Samson, everyone would expect more. I mean, some of the innings he plays and some of the shots he plays, it's like, how is this guy not a regular in all formats? It's just beggars belief.
I think those two words which you mentioned, talent and hype, they don't go together, unfortunately, for Sanju Samson. He's got a lot of talent and he's got a lot of hype, but unfortunately, he's not been able to bring it onto the table when it's actually necessary. In IPL, he has showed us what he actually can do, and he's got that particular class which everybody keeps talking about. If you look at the technique and shots and other things, he seems to be much better placed than Rishabh Pant or somebody else. But unfortunately, consistency is something which is important, and especially when you're given chances and for playing for India, you don't throw away your chances, and that's what he's been doing. So this year and the next couple of years, this and next, perhaps the next year as well, this is going to be a very big test for him. Captaincy wise, I don't think that's going to matter a lot, because you've got enough captaincy options in the Indian team already. But for a wicketkeeper slot, right now Rishabh Pant is the only one who is lingering around all the three formats. They will definitely look for somebody who can be in the ODI side and the T20 side at least. So this is still an opportunity for him if he can perform consistently across all 14 games and the finals as well, and make it back to the Indian team and grab that opportunity perhaps. And you never know, that could be the way ahead for him.
And Sumin, obviously Rajasthan won the inaugural edition. What has gone wrong over the years? Obviously, they had a great captain come coach in Shane Warne, unearthed a lot of talent like Ravindra Jadeja. You had some great hitting talent, Yusuf Pathan. But is that the game has evolved over the years and their selection hasn't been consistent, or is it just the strategy on the auction table, or is it just a culture in the franchise? What is it that Mumbai and Chennai do that other teams are unable to, because they've won pretty much 80% of the IPL?
Yeah, after '08, if you see the inaugural championship, they consistently made a lot of changes, whether it is support staff, coaching staff, or even players. Even for that matter, Rahul Dravid was coaching Rajasthan Royals for a couple of seasons, if I'm not wrong. In the past 2-3 years or so, we can't really blame their strategy, because last year, if you see, majority of their players were either injured, like Jofra did not play. Ben Stokes was also on the IPL Part 2, he did not play much of it. Somebody like Jaidev Unadkat, mind-boggling selection. So I think it's a combination of all. You cannot really compare them to Chennai Super Kings or Mumbai Indians because they're well thought through franchise. Whereas the Rajasthan Royals probably got carried away with the names, and they also did not get their proper playing 11 or the top 12 confirmed consistency. The chopping and changing, and top of the order like Sanju Samson, one game wonder, puts a lot of pressure in the middle order. There are a variety of things Rajasthan Royals could have done better.
And I think one thing which everybody needs to remember is what brand value is this particular team creating. So if you look at Mumbai Indians and Chennai Super Kings, they've created a brand value for themselves. So when they approach a particular player saying if you're interested to play for us, and then Rajasthan also goes for the particular player, the player will think, where do I excel more? Where do I get a better opportunity? Where can I have a better brand value? They'll obviously be tilted towards Mumbai Indians and CSK rather than the Rajasthan Royals. So I think there's where teams like Rajasthan Royals have to put up better performances on the field, build their brand value for future, and then get players of what their liking is.
Absolute key, I think. Just as an example, so we plan to do all previews for all the teams. Uh, so we've been looking for our friends in Waadaplaya, core members, and there's hardly anyone who's lining up to do a preview for Rajasthan Royal. That just shows, the popularity. And we got like at least 20 people who want to do CSK, Mumbai, and 200 people who want to do RCB. But it's just creating that brand value, recognition, and obviously having players retained over the years. It helps. You got Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the legendary wicketkeeper, and then you got Rohit Sharma in Mumbai. And similarly, when KKR was at its best, you had decent players, Gambhir's team, and you had some consistency in management as well. So big year for Rajasthan Royals. It's not going to get any easier. But before I let you go, guys, let's talk of some predictions of buys, and let's see if we can get some right. So one is clearly they are looking for a fast bowler, be it Indian fast bowler or overseas fast bowler. They might look for a spinner as well, most probably local spinner and an all-rounder potentially. What are we looking at, Suman? Any potential guys you can think of? Pat Cummins, as we discussed briefly, would be a hot pick.
Pat Cummins will be a hot pick. Ravichandran Ashwin potentially will be an option because if you see, he can also play a vice captain role for Sanju Samson. He can bat a little bit. He can bowl extremely well. So I think Ashwin, Pat Cummins, and one or two West Indians all-rounders. Maybe Jason Holder. Jason Holder will fit nicely into that Rajasthan Royals setup.
It's a good shout. I think Jason Holder would fit in very well. Sorry, go on, Suman.
But I heard Jason Holder is being looked at potential RCB captain, but we'll see.
Well, we got Arkash to bet that. Do you want Jason Holder to be RCB captain, or Rajasthan Royals is going to probably snatch him?
I think he's better off in RCB, not as a captain, but as a player at least. But from an RCB, from a Rajasthan perspective, I think they will look for somebody who can bat strongly in the middle order. They had Ben Stokes previously, so I think they'll go for somebody like a Mitchell Marsh. It's not going to be easy. He's going to go at least for 10 crores. He's performed well in the finals of the World Cup as well. So I think somebody like a Mitchell Marsh who can give you both facets of the game, that will be a very important pick for them. But if they go for somebody like a Mitchell Marsh, and as I said earlier, somebody like a Thakur, then it's going to be difficult for them to go for somebody like a Pat Cummins. So alternatively, somebody maybe like a Mark Wood, who's equally quick and hit the deck of a bowler. He can perhaps fit into that particular side. And from a spin department, Sangakkara is there, so he might probably go for somebody like a Vanindu Hasaranga, who's again an all-rounder and a very good leg spinner as well. So I think these could be some picks which they might be looking at.
That's great names. Suman, I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me a figure and a player. So what's the maximum or the most expensive player that will be bought by Rajasthan at the auction table, and who could that player be?
Probably will be Mitchell Marsh. I think they'll go after Mitchell Marsh. Akash did a good call out because he's between Mitchell Marsh and Jason Holder, and maybe 10 to 12 crores all-rounder, or a fast bowler like a Pat Cummins, probably similar to how they paid Chris Morris, 14 crores, Akash, last time?
More than that, I think.
16 crores, I guess.
So they will go after either an all-rounder or a fast bowler with the highest price pick.
Akash?
Well, I don't think any team can go higher than 13 to 14 crores on any player for that matter, because you've got a lot of players in there. You've got to build a team, and considering you need to build a core, you can't spend too much on any particular player. But still, I think a couple of players definitely will go for 10 crores in each team. My pick would be Shardul Thakur. I think he will go for somewhere around 12 to 13 crores for them.
Well, that is very interesting. I'm going to pick who? I think Mitchell Marsh, just fast bowling all rounder in red hot form. Everyone would want him. Considering Rajasthan will definitely go for him because they've got top three sorted. So middle order bat, maybe Indian you'll get, but yeah, I think Mitchell Marsh and Jason Holden seem to be very
There
good.
might be a wild card because if you see opening batters, Butler and Sanju Samson both can bat opening and they are right-handers. If Rajasthan is looking for a left-hand opening batter, potentially David Warner is on the cards. Because again, if you look at Sanju Samson, he needs a deputy, and Warner will be perfect there, and he can
I,
open the batting too.
no, I can't
think-
see them bidding for him. Yeah,
I think
because
they'll go.
Jaiswal is already there. So
Yes,
there's no way.
Jaiswal is already there for opening slot. If they need a deputy, I think Suman was right earlier on that Ashwin could be a candidate for a deputy in Rajasthan Royals. They definitely can go for Ashwin.
No, and I'd love to see a Riyan Parag or a Tewatia back. Like in my head, Tewatia is Rajasthan Royals. So if anything, that brand value or whatnot, what he did to Cottrell is unforgettable. It lived down in IPL folklore, and with Dravid, that whole cap thing, no one can forget that whole incident. And obviously in the inaugural edition of the IPL, all those things are great memories for IPL for Rajasthan. Akash.
I would definitely like to see Ashwin and Butler together, the same team. How will they go in the nets? Will he mentor him again in the nets as well? That will be an interesting one to see.
I think Butler's going to strongly recommend Ashwin's name up at the auction. I think that's a great way to ensure that he doesn't get that run in place. Excellent. Right. So this was Rajasthan Royals. Wishing them good luck at the auction. Hopefully they buy well, they buy sensibly. We all know what can happen at the auction table. The dynamics can change. You might think of players you want to buy, and suddenly there is more teams interested. The prices go up. You end up panicking, and some player who people wouldn't have expected to go for a lot of money ends up bagging a lot of money on the second day. We will be here. Waadaplaya is going to do 2 live sessions through the day on the big auction days on 11th and 12th, is it?
12th and 13th.
12th and 13th. And hopefully you will join us, engage with us, and we'll see how the auction pans out. And it'll be absolutely fascinating to see how this big mega auction goes. It could be the last one we have. So guys, do cherish it while it lasts. Who knows? 10 teams, last mega auction, and then that'll be it. All the transfers happen during mid-season or during that small windows where the players can go for unbelievable money. But anyways, if you haven't done so already, do consider subscribing to our channel. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll look to having you back next time. We are doing previews for all the teams, so do check those out as well. Thank you so much, Akash, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for
Thank you,
watching.
guys.